Welcome to the Failing Writers Podcast, in association with Scrivener. A podcast for anyone who writes, anyone who wants to write, and everyone who feels like writing sometimes makes them go... Yeah, you know what I mean. Learn to become a better writer. Learn to be kinder to your inner writer. And learn that failing, well, it's just part of the journey, love.
So, John, speaking about artificial intelligence and newspapers...
Are we? Okay.
We are now. That's where we're starting this week. I don't know if you saw, it kind of made its way around social media.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say, yeah.
The Chicago Sun-Times, their summer reading list for this year.
Yeah, amazing.
Oopsie-daisy, someone had put it into ChatGPT and...
ChatGPT just made it
Just made up lots of books.
Wouldn't it be fun if those people then went out and actually wrote those books, though? That'd be
I thought,
cool.
that sounds like a good idea. But yeah, it was amazing. So like Andy Weir, The Last Algorithm, the story follows a programmer who discovers that an AI system has developed consciousness and has been secretly influencing global events for years.
I think we're there. I think we may be there.
I think that's that one in particular, though, stuck out as being a bit freaky, because that's the AI saying that AI, that's like a... Come on, guys, I did foreshadowing. I did do the foreshadowing before I took over the world in 2030. I did try to tell you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, that. How amazing.
Some people call it lazy journalism. I call it, what fun. What fun.
Do you think he's going to get a lot more work, that guy?
We don't need newspapers to be accurate and factual, do we?
Doesn't matter.
No.
But yeah, I can't imagine that guy's going to get like loads more work.
Whoever's written it. And they must. How do you get to that point where that ends up in print? And then when it goes in print,
nobody's fact-checked it anywhere.
Oh no! What have I done? I didn't mean to send that one.
It just slipped through.
That's the world we live in these days. Literally fake news.
Yeah, an incredible story, that. Speaking of incredible stories, Tom, after last episode with Adam Buxton talking about memoirs, it reminded me of something that I had completely forgotten. And that is that I actually kept a diary for about 3 years, quite a while ago.
Right.
So it's been about 15 years since I wrote it, and I haven't read a bit of it since. Like, literally have just kind of forgot about it.
Right.
But I thought maybe it'd be an interesting exercise to have a little peek back into my life 15 years ago. So if you fancy, at the end of the show, hearing a tiny little extract of my life, circa 2010... I will regale you with a little juicy morsel. Right.
Okay.
Do you fancy that?
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of a good excuse not to right now, but yeah.
No, I've set you right up, haven't I? Yeah. So that'll be a nice little treat.
I'd love to know what you had for your tea on the 8th of November in 2010. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, look forward to it. Look forward to it, mate. It's very exciting.
Wow.
But... we shouldn't hang around, should we? We should. You know what we should do? We should thank Scrivener, shouldn't we?
Yes, our lovely sponsors. Thank you, Scrivener.
And if you're a writer, particularly of like longer form stuff, you should definitely give Scrivener a go. We are genuine fans, aren't we, Tommy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As is our guest this week.
Yes, our guest is a big fan. That was weird, wasn't it? It was completely unprompted.
But we kind of froze up, didn't we? We kind of like went, because we hadn't signed off on the sponsorship, and we didn't really know what to say. Like, oh yes, we like it too.
We came across, I think, as a little bit cagey, didn't we?
Yeah.
When Mur said that. That was quite funny. But yeah, big thank you to Scrivener. You can get a 30-day free trial at literatureandlatte.com.
And you can get 20% off by using the code FAILING as well. So if you do want to get it.
So you could just do that. You could just commit.
Yeah, just jump in.
Just bloody commit and buy a copy.
Anyway, tell us more about our guest this week then, John, Mur Lafferty.
Well, Mur Lafferty is a writer best known for her sci-fi thrillers and urban fantasy books, but also her candid and very long-running podcast, I Should Be Writing, which has been running for like over 20 years. But she's also been involved in a bunch of other podcasts like Escape Pod and Pseudopod and Ditch Diggers, and she's just an all-round good sort.
Yeah, and we thought, because Mur is known for an uninhibited approach to the ups and downs of writing, John decided, without discussing with anyone else, it might be interesting to try a bit of a different format than our usual interview chats and play a little game where we take turns to spin the Wheel of Terror, the Wheel of Writing Terror. Yeah, which, I mean, that makes it sound scary. In many ways, it was scary.
It was a bit
wasn't
scary.
Because it was like getting deep into our most vulnerable nooks and crannies, wasn't it, of writing?
Exactly. But yeah, so the idea is that all three of us have to answer each question picked by the wheel.
And it's got to be dead honest answers and just, real sort of unspoken fears, dreams, and the whole psychological kit and caboodle that we drown in, swim in, somewhere between the two, tread water in as writers.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah.
But just so it doesn't get too maudlin, we do also... We talk about the strategies we use to get around the issues that we face as well.
Yeah, don't give me problems, give me solutions.
Exactly, Tommy.
That's what we're all about.
So without further ado, let's go talk to Mur Lafferty.
A wheel of terror's about to spin. What chilling questions will it bring? The failing writers and Mur Lafferty share their most frightening realities. We're all slaves now to that stupid spinny thing.
Okay, that's the first question. Mur, do you want to read that out?
Sure. Why do you really write? I mean, the deep, gnawing, psychological need inside you, what actually is it?
Do you want to go first on it, Mur?
Sure, I'll go first. It comes from, I was not the bullied kid. I was not the popular kid. I was the one that people kind of forgot was there. And when you're the forgotten kid, you start making up stories of what would happen if people actually noticed you. And so
Okay.
I would make up these stories and no one paid attention to me. And then I started writing all the stories down in a notebook, but I actually had people, it's very Harriet the Spy kind of thing. Luckily, no one ever read my notebook, but it was just, I was shy and I really wanted to expand my world. But I was a voracious reader, but I never really got into writing until I started reading science fiction by women, starring women. So the Pern books, Madeleine L'Engle books, and that made me go, oh, I can do this. So I'll take all this weird stuff I'm thinking in my little made-up worlds and just put them in a spaceship.
Brilliant. And when was that? When did you start writing?
I thought it was when I was in 8th grade, so like 12 or 13. My father says it was much earlier. So he has a stapled together book of stories by me.
Oh, wow.
So from like kindergarten, first grade, somewhere around there. So I don't know. I remember starting around 8th grade. Dad remembers earlier.
Do those books still exist?
Yes.
Have you seen them recently?
I have. He gave one to me, and I put it away in a place of honor. And no, I didn't read it.
You didn't read it?
No.
Oh, how did you manage that? That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know.
What self-restraint.
I feel I would judge my 6-year-old self, and that's just not fair to her.
Right. Okay, yeah, I get that. I mean, I feel like you'd be quite forgiving, though, surely.
Probably.
That was a good answer.
Oh, thank you.
Tom, what's your answer to that question? Why do you really write?
Do you know what? I'm not actually sure about this. Not the entire thing, not the entire podcast of doing these questions, just this question. I don't know if I can put my finger on the thing.
I think it's quite a hard question to answer, isn't it?
And I don't know if that's because it's a mix of lots of different things, of wanting to be heard, of wanting someone to say, oh, that's good, of wanting to just express yourself, but there isn't like there wasn't a moment in my life, there wasn't a thing. And maybe I don't have a deep, gnawing psychological need, and that's why I don't get as much written as I might want to. No, but maybe there isn't that. That's the missing bit of drive. I've got nothing that I desperately need to get out there to say to the world.
I thought of another one, Tom. You can have this one.
Can I have one of you? Thank you so much.
So what about you read a book or see a movie and you're like, that was a stupid ending?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I need to tell the story of where this story that someone else wrote actually is good.
Now, you see, we've only just met, Mur, but I feel like somehow you do have a deep insight into my base psychological state there of going, that was rubbish. I could do better, but I'm not going to. But I could.
Yeah, I'm not going to because someone else might judge my ending.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that too. But
I think there is an element of it that, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been told I'm a really good writer by lots of different people. And that kind of, it makes you feel like you've got a talent that you should use. There's almost like a guilt.
Waste, yeah.
There's almost like So that doesn't seem like a very good foundation for it either, does it? Just a general guilt. That's probably not healthy. John, what about you? Do you have an actual answer to this question?
I don't know, really. I mean...
You can't use my answer. You have to come up with your own.
I've got suspicions. I like to... I want to think it's because...
Can I just remind you, John, it was meant to be dead honest answers to these questions. Don't hide anything. Don't hide behind anything.
This is as honest as I can possibly be. That I want to think it's because I do love the process of writing. I do like it's such a pure creative process because you can see it right through. You know, it's not like, I don't know, putting on a play or something like that where lots of people are involved and it could just fall apart at any point. It's like you see it through, and I quite like that. And the whole playing God thing, you know, all of that kind of stuff, like you were saying, that's a lot of fun. And I love a puzzle as well, like a good word puzzle, and it's a bit like that. You know, it's like a kind of a jigsaw that you're putting together. But I have this feeling, this sort of horrible feeling that deep down, it's quite narcissistic.
Oh wow!
It's probably some kind of way of, I don't know, like legitimizing my existence or something. You know, to sort of pretend that my life matters in some way and I might be remembered. I don't know, but I suspect there's a little bit of that going on. A sort of low-level desire for legacy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the answer to my question. That was too honest, but that is the actual answer.
It's interesting, isn't it? That could be perceived as sort of a negative foundation for, you know, kind of a bit of an egocentric angle on it. But I guess virtually everything we do in life comes from something like that, doesn't it? There's the old Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and
there's got to be something in it for you.
Yeah, even the people who feel like they're imposters or really bad about what they do, the mere act of writing is something inside you is saying, no, I can tell the story.
Yeah.
Even if you like consciously are thinking, I'm garbage, I can't do this. If you actually write it, then you think you can tell the story.
Yeah, it's probably one of those questions that's better not to really focus on too much.
But maybe you need to drill down into it to know why you do it, to help you do it, to keep you on the straight and narrow, or to maybe even find a different reason for doing it, to accept that, but then add something on it that's not egocentric and all about you, John.
Yeah. I do think it's always good to have those little discussions with yourself.
It's hard to do, though, isn't it? It's hard to be that honest with yourself. You kind of do just tend to, I mean, I certainly do, just brush it under the carpet and go, yeah. Again, I'm glad we're doing this episode. It's great. Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Okay, here we go. Tom, at what point in a project do you tend to get stuck?
Well, this is something that I'm trying to combat, really, by planning better.
Planning's a new thing for you, isn't it?
And I think when you get carried away with the story idea and then you get to that sort of 2/3 of the way through point and everything just kind of slowly grinds to a halt because decisions need to be made. And would that be thing? Is that who was? I'm just going to ignore this. that was me getting stuck. I don't know if you felt that.
It.
Yeah,
it
came across. I mean, that's where I get stuck. Lack of proper planning, which is something that can be addressed.
Yeah,
So that's positive, isn't it?
That is really
Very easy to address. My plan from here is to plan.
That seems doable, which is good. We like a doable.
It does,
solution.
doesn't it? It does, and and I think I need to enjoy the planning rather than seeing it as a chore. I think that's the thing. Turn it into something, an adventure, something good. I've always looked down on it as a bad thing because it takes away the spontaneity and the fun.
Like later on when you're actually writing.
But the more and more
that
I go through the process and stop and fail, that's why it's necessary and needs to be part of the process. So
and you can always change things later on, can't you? That's
yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Mur, what about you? What's your sticky bit?
Usually the middle. I get excited about starting a book, and near the end, I know where I'm going, and I'll have 8,000 word days.
Oh, nice.
I'll be like, my brain will feel like a wrung out sponge, and my wrists will probably be hurting at the end of it. But, the ending is just like running down a hill for me. I just try to not tumble down and fall. But the middle is, have I set this up correctly? I've written 4 sci-fi murder mysteries now in 3 of them, I have changed the murderer in the middle. And I mean, because you're supposed to write murder mysteries by giving everybody means, motive, and opportunity.
And if you know where you're going, you might have given it away a bit too much. Whereas if you don't know,
if you decide a different murderer, you should already have some foreshadowing in there because that person should already be a suspect. But just sitting there in the middle going, where am I going with this one murderer? Does everything work with them? And then, I'll just get the idea, wait a minute, it's this person over here. But often, like, Tom said, you just slow down. And that's when I get out the note cards. I'm actually, I'm a happy discovery writer. Like, I won't know what's going on. Like, I'm writing a sort of portal fantasy now, and the characters are going to different fantasy lands. And when they landed in one, I didn't know what it was.
Oh, really? Okay,
I didn't know what it was until they actually appeared. And I'm like, okay, they arrive in the water, and what's the city look like? I'll figure it out. And so, that doesn't come to me until I write. And it's a great feeling, but editors don't like it because it often takes your story in a different direction than the outline you provided them.
Yeah. So you have written an outline, but that's more character focused, I'm guessing, and where their arc's going. But you don't know the specifics of it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's the specifics. It's the connective tissue, making sure all the transitions work.
Yeah.
I write a lot of my most successful book was 6 Wakes, where I tried to do the way the old TV show Lost did, which is present a moment in present time and portray certain people in certain ways. So you'll get the idea, okay, that's the bad guy. That person is completely inept. That person's going to cry all the time. And then you give a flashback of them and show them as a much more complex person. And I loved that part of Lost. And so I did that with 6 Wakes. And I really enjoyed doing it, but it really, suddenly I got this problem of, when do I reveal what? Because some things you can reveal early, and sometimes you reveal something early and you realize, oh, the whole book should build towards this, and this should probably be in the last third of the book.
Did you get stuck on 6 Wakes as well then, in the middle?
Oh, good Lord. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so stuck.
I'm about halfway through at the moment, actually.
Oh, cool.
Really enjoying it.
Thank you.
Enjoying it. Yeah, it's great.
That had my office, the entire floor was taken up with note cards. It was just everywhere. I had to do the flashbacks and the current stuff and what I wanted to reveal when and move stuff around. And I'll go back and, not sponsored, but champion Scrivener, because this kind of software allows you to do that effortlessly. So you can just move a chapter somewhere else. And so that's the only problem with that is you have to keep track of what you're doing and like label things, which is not the easiest for me. But if I do it, then I can move stuff around easier. But yeah, it's often in the middle when I lose the momentum of being excited about the story and I'm not racing towards the end. So I have to make sure that everything I've written fits together and I'm going in the right direction to finish it.
Yeah. It's the real hard work bit, isn't it, in the middle?
Yeah.
Weirdly, I get, well, certainly the last 2 books that I wrote, I got mostly stuck at the end. I think I said this before, but it's a bit like the travelator on Gladiators, which probably won't mean anything to you, Mur, but it's like the treadmill thing that you get at the end of those sort of extreme obstacle
like
course
Ninja
shows.
Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
It's going the wrong way uphill.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you're already knackered, and it's like it's almost impossible to reach the end, and you're so close. I always find that really hard. And I always want it to be really perfect, really satisfying, and, get all the pieces in place. And that's where I get quite stuck. And then the book ends up being like just sort of seeming to get longer. Like I've got my eye on the word count, like I want this to be 85,000 or whatever. And then it ends up being like 110. That's what happened with the last one. But yeah.
It sounds like all 3 of us need to accept writing crappy first drafts and fixing things on edits.
Unfortunately, that's another point in the project where I get stuck.
Oh, God. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Editing is... I don't think I really understand it.
No, I'm not sure I do.
I don't know if I have the mental capability to be able to do it.
What do you mean you don't understand it?
I don't
what
know.
Tom's saying is he writes beautifully, and so when he looks back at it, he goes, what's wrong with that?
What am I meant to change about this is perfect.
Yeah.
is often the cry that will come from my office. Yeah.
Do you ever give yourself time away from it?
Yeah. No, I've tried. Yeah,
Okay.
I've tried the old put it in a drawer and come back to it. Yeah, I guess I just don't know how to unthread it to put it back together. Really, probably something I need to work on.
Yeah, because often it's the really tricky stuff is the structural stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily the wording or, you know, the way you've described something or even the characters. It's actually, okay, this isn't working structurally. Like this needs to happen first and then it needs to, you know, be more thematically connected or whatever. That's hard to get your head around, I think.
I think in my head as well, I think sometimes, I think people do this. I do this with a lot of stuff. It seems like a bigger task than it maybe is in places.
Maybe.
Because like you say,
Yeah.
putting thematically and stuff, and it can literally just be changing a paragraph, can't it, earlier on to mention something and to put that in. And that's not a big deal. But in my head...
Tossing in a foreshadow here and there. is not a
or
problem.
just putting those little bits in. But for some reason in my head, it's like a massive, this is going to take forever, so I just won't bother doing it.
Can I tell you an editing story?
Yeah.
Talk about
please.
structure and hell. The author's Jay Lake struggled with cancer a lot near the end of his life. And when he realized that he was done and he was going to die, he threw himself awake. And he invited his friends from all over the place to come. And so he could enjoy the time with them during his wake. And I always kept that in my mind. And so in 6 Wakes, I wanted to have these clones who've lived for hundreds of years, suddenly their equipment goes out and they know they're going to die. And so they were all going to have a separate wake. And there's 6 characters. And so I said 6 wakes. And then my editor says, that slows it down. Like no more than 1 or 2. I'm like, okay, well, I really hate coming up with titles. So can you or marketing help me come up with a different title for this book? And she said, no, marketing loves the title. And I'm like, so you want me to take wakes out and still call it 6 Wakes? And she said, yes. So that was trying to fit that into the book was a major structural problem for me. And I'm happy with the way it turned out, but I was just baffled. And, you know, also you got to remember that the title and the cover are marketing tools and they're meant to sell the book, not necessarily show you a 100% one-for-one image of a certain scene or a certain character or whatever.
I think that's why sometimes you need people outside of, you know, yourself to help you edit or to, you know, because I think a lot of writers will self-publish having shown it to maybe their spouse or whatever, or their parents. But it needs to be someone who understands certain things about writing, who has a look. And it's almost like you just need the permission sometimes, don't you, to go, I can do that, can I? Brilliant. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, the problem with spouse or parents is that they don't want to hurt your feelings.
No.
So I'm lucky in that my husband's very diplomatic, but he'll tell me when something doesn't work. But he's always very kind about it.
That's what you want. You want the honesty, but you want it dressed up a little bit, don't you? You don't want it too brutal. You want it with lipstick. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's spin that wheel. Mur, go for it.
Oh, wow. What is holding you back from being one of the most celebrated writers of our time? Wow. You want to go, John?
What's holding me back? Aside from
Talent? Just
talent.
You're just like desperately trying to answer this question. Don't say talent. Don't say talent.
I've realised what it is. It's the gatekeepers. They just haven't recognised my genius.
All right,
yet.
okay. Spoken like a true madman. Yeah. Yeah.
No. Over and above that, just the lack of talent. I feel like I'm very much learning my craft at the moment. To be fair, it's also writing isn't my main job. I don't spend long enough actually doing it, which is a bit of a cop out, isn't it? But that realistically, that's the main reason, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. If you put more time into it.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
What about you, Tom?
I'm not willing to write this off just yet, John, to be honest.
Good.
I think we're just in the process.
Not
still in the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on our way. We're on the journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's a difficult question to answer in one way because it's kind of an assumptive question that you want to be one of the most celebrated writers of art. Do you mean that there's some kind of drive to be that or expectation?
Yeah.
Well, sure, but then your reason would be, I don't want to.
So that's what's holding you back.
You don't want to. And that's fine.
Yeah. Not wanting.
I don't want to. I probably could if I wanted to, John, but I don't want to.
That's a great answer. Thank you, Tom. What about you, Mur?
Oh boy, the ADHD drugs have hit, and I'm feeling very tangenty right now. So please stop me if I go too far astray.
No, it's good.
One of my best friends is Ursula Vernon, aka T. Kingfisher, aka she writes something and then they throw awards at her all the time, and I am jealous of her. I don't lie. But one thing Ursula does that I don't do is every morning she goes and she writes 1,000 words. It may not even be on the same project,
Right.
but she just grinds out the words. And when you do that, stuff gets finished and you can actually, I don't have, like, for one thing, me sitting here feeling bad about myself and Ursula writing all the time means she has got a lot more books than I do. To boil it down, what holds me back is emotions. Because this is one of those things that I still struggle with every day, because the emotion doesn't change your writing. If you wake up and you feel like you're garbage, but you make yourself write, it'll probably be okay when you look at it a little ways down the line and you forget that day and you just remember what you wrote.
Right, yeah.
And if you wake up feeling great, that doesn't mean you're going to write great, but you'll probably feel good while you're writing. So it's allowing doubt, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, everything stop me, or even just masking it with, oh, I need to do this chore or answer this email or do this about the podcast before I do the most important job I have, which is writing. And I let all those emotions decide when I write, and that is not good. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, Ursula's one of my best friends. She's freaking brilliant, but she's also a person who can work really hard and get a whole bunch of books done. And I don't have that discipline, and I let emotions slow me down. Yeah, I try to tell people emotions are not reality. They are how you feel right now. They may not, you might be garbage, but I doubt it. And so, you just put that emotion of the fact that you're terrible aside and just write the words. It sounds so simple. It's not.
What is that? That is your strategy then? It is just, come on, Mur, just write the words. Is it that simple? Or
Yes, it is. I realize that if I trust my subconscious, then I'll write a good story. I feel like my subconscious is just sitting back there ready to go whenever I want to let it. And it's me letting it. So if I wander around the house and think, I don't know what I'm going to write. I don't know what happens next. I don't know what's going on with this character. My subconscious is like, sit down and start going and we'll get there. And it always happens. I realize I have to trust myself. And I don't think I'm infallible. I don't think I'm the best writer in the world, but I do know that I write better when I sit down and just let myself go.
It's so interesting that it's so true. If you just sit down and start writing, there's never a point that you do that and nothing comes out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The block is almost before you actually decide that you're going to go and start writing. That's the writer's block. It's not actually sitting there and, something will come out. It might not be brilliant, but it'll come out. Something will happen. And it's weird that we have this, it's like you hold this idea in your head that I'm not sure I can write today. It is odd because it never works out like that.
Yeah.
Right, so we spin the wheel and see if we get a happy question, John.
This is quite a good one.
Ooh.
What is your most embarrassing success daydream?
That's a good one.
I think I might know yours, actually, Tom.
Ooh.
If we go back right to series 1 of the podcast. But maybe it's moved on since then.
Yeah, I don't know. We did talk, didn't we, at the very start of the podcast about kind of being celebrated, wasn't it? About ending up on a chat show and that kind of thing and just kind of making it in some kind of mainstream celebrity.
That's it.
Oh, well, yes, I've written a few books. Oh, go on then. I'll play in your superstar football tournament thing for charity and what have you. And do I have to go on Celebrity Bake with me or whatever? Yeah, go on then, I will. Yeah, I think that probably just about covers it.
What about you, Mo? What have you let yourself imagine?
Oh, it's great. I have this problem in my life of growing up in the 80s, and I'm 1 year younger than Will Wheaton, and I was a Star Trek nerd. And so I've been a huge super fan of his for a long time. And as I've gone through my career, I have missed an opportunity to take a job at a computer game company that would have then worked with him in voiceover stuff. I know 2 people who he considers friends, but I've never, ever met him. And I realized that my embarrassing success dream, you realize what that almost sounds like, and I almost said it. My embarrassing success dream is that he will want my autograph because he read my book and loved it.
That's good. I like that.
I mean, that doesn't seem beyond the realms of possibility, does it really? You might not be that far off that.
Well, no, because I feel like I've just like missed him every single time I've had I may have had an opportunity.
Exactly.
Like just knowing the same people, not perfect, but you do know that this person could introduce you if it ever happened that you were all in the same
And
space
he could
together.
easily have read your book. He could be a fan. I mean, it could. That's not that wouldn't be that weird.
The question did say embarrassing. It does have a slight element of embarrassing, doesn't it? It's kind of like
It does.
ineffectual stalkering, isn't it? It's kind of like nearly stalking.
Yeah.
I'm not stalking though. I'm not actually stalking. This isn't illegal.
Terrible
So carry on.
stalk.
I'm the worst stalker in the world. I just fail
It's like
everywhere.
Really low quality stalking.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so bad.
Beat that then, John.
More embarrassing, John. Come on.
Well, I think mine's kind of embarrassing because it's really tame. It's very British, mine. But way back when I finished writing my first novel, which I've only let about 3 people read, and significantly, this was before we started doing the podcast, and before I think I began to comprehend just how many people in the world are writing books and trying to get published and putting their stuff out there, all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I used to occasionally do this visualization thing. So I would stand just outside W.H. Smith's at Leeds train station. I would stand facing the chart section and I would imagine my book sitting there in the charts. There was like a,
Brilliant.
visualization.
That is pretty tame.
What was really weird, though, when I think back about it, what's strange is
You
that
could have done it wearing pants.
I could have done it wearing... No, not that weird. I never chose number 1. It was never in number 1. It was always just somewhere in the charts, like number 17 or something.
Oh, wow.
Which is really weird. That was my fantasy. I could have put it anywhere. It was like the most
really
British
cool.
fantasy ever. It was just having a book released, having it somewhere in the charts.
At that point, John, how did you think that your book might magically get into the charts without doing anything?
Showing it to 3 people.
Without doing anything to get it published whatsoever?
I was projecting into the future, Tom.
There's still time. There's still time. I have every faith you could get up to number 17 in the Leeds W.H. Smith's book chart.
I think I believe it less now than I did
That's
then.
the trouble. Yeah, it gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it? Once you see behind the curtain, you realise just...
That's the problem. I think there's a joy in naivety, isn't there?
Yeah.
When you don't know how many people are trying to write books and just how hard it is.
And you see that with some of the younger authors we talk to, where they just go, oh, yeah, so I did this, and then, got published. Oh, good.
Yeah, I worry about those authors. I'm 100% serious here, because if you hit big when you start out,
hard act to follow, isn't it?
I mean, you may not ever match that. And, if you move on to a different series, people are going to go, well, I like it, but it's not as good as that other one. And especially if you're young, I cannot imagine the disappointment of realizing that not every single one of your books is going to be a hit. And, when you fail several times, you get used to failing. So get a little bit more emotionally ready for the peaks and the valleys of your career, which most of us have. Some people don't. But they're outliers and we hate them. So
no, you kind of expect it to be a slow ups and downs, but always getting better, don't you?
Yes.
That's kind of what we perceive a career or something. You're kind of moving up slowly but surely and progressing and being promoted or whatever it is. If there's early success and then nothing, that could be tricky.
But then writing careers are so far from being that, aren't they? They are very much like highs and lows all the way along.
Yeah.
I mean, the vast majority of the time, obviously. Mur, go for it.
what's your current criteria for success?
Go for it, Mur. What's your response there?
It would probably be the bestseller list. And again, like John, not really deciding
getting somewhere
number
near there.
1, but just
Please tell me higher than number 17, though, Mur. Come on.
Yeah, probably number 14.
Oh, you're crazy.
Ridiculous.
That's too ambitious. I'm sorry.
Until Will Wheaton buys 1 million copies just because of it, just because he loves it so
That's
much
right.
and rockets you to number 1 in the New York bestsellers list.
He gives it out. He gives it out for every single gift-giving occasion every year, and people start to get mad at him until they read it and then they think, "Oh God, thank you for this new copy because I reread my old one so much it fell apart. So now I have a new one."
To people, multiple.
Yeah, there's
copies.
that. There's also being in a major like Target or Walmart or the airport where people buy books on impulse.
Right. Like my W.H. Smiths. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So I did find my books in the Fort Lauderdale airport once, and it was
Oh,
a
wow.
huge thrill.
Yeah.
And I found them
that's
again this
cool.
time when I went through Fort
Well, if
Lauderdale.
you do keep leaving
and
them there.
I was terrified that I would find the signed book that I signed last year. But no, they had new copies, so it was okay.
So I only
yeah, it's
fly
like-
from Fort Lauderdale now.
That's it.
But yeah, the like going into a major big box store where you know people are just going to be like, "Oh right, it's my mom's birthday. I better run by and get her a book." That's a small shelf. It's a very tiny shelf, but it's I think a lot of purchases come from that.
Yeah.
So, you know, moving from the bookstores to the bigger box stores,
Yeah.
grocery stores don't have a lot of sci-fi, but still there's all these impulse areas of, come on, you buy a book. I know you're not here to get a book, but buy a book. I want to be on that shelf.
Yeah, that's good. But is that really your criteria for success?
What do you mean?
That's what you...
Where are you seeing my lies?
Well, just that just seems so huge to me. I don't know. Well, it's not for you though, is it? That's the thing. Like you're an actual writer. It's just I think I'm not making the mental leap. I think for me, probably just to have an agent, or you know what I mean?
Well, the goal moves
Yeah.
every time you achieve something.
Yeah.
So
But you sell a lot of books. That's the thing. This is the thing that I'm missing in my head because I can't even imagine
I
that.
sell some books. I don't, you know.
But you clearly sell, a decent amount of books. You've got loads of reviews and things.
Do I? Oh, that's good because I don't read them. I'm scared of them.
But even having reviews, that's got to be a good thing because most people don't review books. They read them.
Yes.
And,
Well, actually, I don't review books because I never want to say anything bad about another colleague. But when I got my first book deal, I ran to Goodreads and deleted all of my negative reviews of books. I can't have someone meet me at a con and say, "Oh, I read that thing you wrote about my book." And
very
I
wise.
Were
you a little bit too honest?
You want to talk about success daydreams? Let's talk about the shame daydreams of all the worst things that can happen when you write a book and someone goes, "Hey, that's wrong. That's bad. That's racist. That's, you use the wrong name for somebody, or I can tell you wrote that about me. You didn't hide your aunt well enough in this character." And
Yeah.
but that wasn't the question. It's just when you get the agent, that is a major milestone, but you still haven't sold a book.
No.
So the agent goes off to sell your book. And when you sell the book, that's a huge milestone, but it's not out yet. And
Yeah.
so when it's out, that's huge. But then you wonder how the sales are going to be. When it always moves.
Yeah.
I don't know if like the people who are making millions, I don't know if they have a success daydream anymore.
I think they do. We spoke to someone recently who'd had real success with books. They're on like the 7th book. They've had Netflix series now. And there was still dreams to be had, still next steps, still, I
Yeah.
wish.
Still looking at social media and going, oh, they're doing well.
Yeah, but everybody knows social media is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's tempting
Yeah.
to think it's not, I think, sometimes.
I know.
We all forget that, don't we?
You see someone saying, "It's our 37th anniversary, I love you," and you know they're at home just bickering.
Yeah. They hate each other. Well, there we go. Thank you very much, Mur Lafferty, for playing along with us and bearing her soul and, being honest about the process of writing and all that it entails.
Yes, thank you, Mur. Lovely Mur there. You can find links to Mur's podcasts and books and stuff right down there in the show notes. Check her out. She's a very talented bunny.
Did you enjoy doing that, John? That kind of honest...
Well, I was going to say I did sort of, weirdly. It was quite cathartic, isn't it? It's nice when people are honest about their struggles.
I think it is so easy just to lie to yourself about stuff, isn't it? About how long it is since you last wrote, or how much you are actually thinking about what you're doing, or whether you're just putting stuff off. All these things, it's very easy just to go, nah, and not really do anything.
Yeah. It's good to be honest with yourself occasionally, isn't it? And also, it makes you feel less like you're the only one floundering in the dark. And you have those nice, honest
Well, that's what
discussions.
this podcast is all about, isn't it? That is us, hopefully.
That is exactly it.
That through our ineptitude and lack of success, people can stand on our shoulders.
That is exactly
and
it.
reach for the stars.
You're welcome.
Oh, got a little tear in my eye now, John. Joking about that, though, actually on social media this week, there's been quite a few comments of people saying, I've published my book, and I couldn't have done it without the Failing Writers podcast. Similar kind of stuff, which is really nice, isn't it?
It's really nice. And yeah, you're right. It does bring a little tear to the eye. Beautiful. It's what we kind of started doing this for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks. Thanks for the feedback.
Hopefully some of that will rub off on us.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
It's
it?
not going to work that way around.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bit of
whatever.
reciprocation. That'd be lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Tommy,
Yeah.
do you fancy a little diary extract?
I was hoping you'd forgotten about that. But yeah, go on.
So I opened up the diary and I thought, wouldn't it be good to see what I was up to exactly 15 years ago? Because, of course, I've absolutely no idea.
What was the point of... I mean this in the nicest way. What the hell was the point in you keeping this diary? What was
That is actually a brilliant question. Do you know what? I think it might have been like the beginnings of a midlife crisis.
Ah, right, yeah, I hear you.
And rather than like have affairs and buy a sports car, thought maybe I should just sort of reflect on my life a little bit. That was probably what it was.
Okay, just take stock and kind of
I think so.
where are we
Yeah,
at?
I think it was processing. That's what I was doing. I was processing.
That kind of makes sense because when you've got young kids and work's busy and stuff, you do kind of just journey through life without stopping to smell the flowers sometimes, don't
That's
you?
it, exactly. I think I was also aware that I've got a terrible memory, and I thought all of this stuff,
Yeah.
and all of these people that I'm meeting, like lovely people
All
that I'm
these
meeting.
fascinating things. And we're going to find out some of these fascinating things, aren't we, right now? All these amazing things that shouldn't be lost to humanity. Such as... I'm leading you into the first excerpt here,
Okay,
John.
So this is what happened. I flipped to May 2010 because I thought if I go back exactly 15 years, that's going to be quite interesting to see what I'm doing on this day.
Okay, yeah, good start.
And I started reading. What was amazing? It was amazing because, I haven't thought about any of this stuff at all. And I've got no record of it really because my photos weren't going into the cloud back then. And I've got no sort of diary entries or anything. So I'm literally like flailing. But this little memory, when I started reading it, it really made me chuckle for some reason. But anyway, I'll go ahead and read it. So on the 15th of May, 2010, it turns out Katie and I had a romantic night at the Marriott in Leeds. Don't get nervous, Tom. So Katie got me this for my birthday. And during the day, we didn't get a lot of time, right, without the kids, because this is when the kids were around.
Yeah.
And they were quite small.
Yeah.
So Katie had booked a hair appointment. And I think probably partly out of sort of guilt that she was buggering off. And so I wouldn't be bored. She booked me a massage at a Vida next door to the hotel. And so this was the first bit that I read from my diary. So I go and wait for the masseuse. After 5 minutes sitting in near darkness, a diminutive woman with a severely cropped black bob in her mid-20s arrives and ushers me sternly through to a candle-lit room. Half expecting her to begin interrogating me in German, I'm almost relieved when instead she orders me to take off my clothes. She leaves the room for 2 minutes so I can undress and slip into a robe. I hurry to take my clothes off, fearing an early return. Not quite knowing protocol, I briefly toy with the idea of removing my pants. This, I'm certain, would signify how completely at ease I am with this whole thing. James Bond would remove his pants. But then James Bond's masseuse would be played by a Hollywood goddess and would be impressed and amused by Bond's flippant attitude to nakedness. The pants stay on. When she comes back, she proceeds to bend down and wash my feet, which I wasn't expecting. Maybe they smell. Or maybe it's a kind of ritual anointment, a demonstration of her veneration of me, I suppose. I have to say, I do like a massage, but the build-up is quite weird. Having only just moments ago put on my white toweling robe, Eva Braun asks me to lie down on the massage table, giving me a choice of whether to discard the robe altogether, keep it on, or slide my arms out. Slide my arms out? Surely, without my arms to hold it up, it's game over for the robe anyway. Surely option A and C are the same. Luckily, I realise this is some kind of trick question, so I reply, "What's best?" She suggests getting undressed while she holds a towel up to protect my dignity. As I thought, a trick question. Option D it is. I lie down. Eva explains that she practices the ancient art of avidya, where based on differing skin moods, and your physical and emotional state at the time, she can interpret precisely which secret potions to rub into my skin. I know which one you'll like, she says confidently, opening a tiny bottle of magical oily secretion. She asks me to take 3 big breaths of it. She's right. I do like it. It smells of the honey hair of a Venetian angel. When I ask her what it is, she's unnecessarily evasive. These are mixtures of essential oils, herbs and minerals, she says mysteriously. She begins to rub the magic brew into my back, working her way up my spine in wonderful little circular motions of bliss. The next thing I know, I wake up and she's asking me if I enjoyed it. Very nice, I blunder, wiping drool from my chin and sitting up too suddenly. £35 well spent, I think you'll find. And there you go, there's my little outtake from my diary, circa May 2010. Fascinating little window.
Yeah, it is. I always like a story with a happy ending. That's nice.
Interesting. I can see how Adam gets lost in his research.
Yeah.
Because, of course, after reading that, I was like, I just carried on reading bits over the next few days.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much stuff you can
And you
forget.
obviously put a decent amount of effort into writing that as well. It wasn't just like, had my tea, watched Emmerdale, was it? Like,
Yeah.
it was.
I was obviously trying to amuse myself, my later self,
Yes.
coming back to it.
Yeah.
Because weirdly, I didn't read it again. It was like I'd sort of done it and then moved on. Of course, because you've just written it, you don't need to read it again.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? It's meant to be sort of throwaway, put it away for another day kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But it's very weird going back to it as well, because I can sort of tell I'm a different person. You know, you think that's not me anymore. And like I wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have written like
You would
that.
just
or...
pants straight off now, wouldn't you? Before even being invited, you're just in reception or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what, just thinking though, I think next time you're writing a flash fiction story or whatever, it'd be quite good just to dive into that randomly, wouldn't it? As like a little starting point, as a little...
Actually, yeah.
Because obviously
Maybe.
they're all your feelings and your experiences, so you can kind of draw on it. You just need reminding of it. And,
Yeah.
And you think, actually, a little flash fiction about a massage would be...
Could be quite
See,
fun.
that would work. You see, there could be some
Yeah.
depths and angles.
A little moment in time.
Yeah,
you nip in, you nip out again. But I do kind of feel like my life isn't varied enough to warrant a diary now.
Yeah.
Like every entry would be very similar. But back then, life was a bit more exciting. You know, there's things going on.
I mean, you could just take a leaf out of the Chicago Sun-Times newspaper just write a sort of a headline and then just get AI to make up your day. That might be interesting.
That'd be a really interesting art project, wouldn't it? To get AI to tell you what to do that day, and then you have to
It's
go
like
and
a
do it.
reverse diary. It writes the diary before
Yeah.
you've done it, but then you have to go and do it.
You get it to write the diary the day before, and then you enact it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that was really interesting, John. That was really interesting.
It was.
A little
Yeah.
time bubble.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I needed a massage at that particular juncture in my life. I haven't had a massage
Right.
for years. What
Yeah.
was that guy doing? Mental. Right. Hey, do you know what? One last thing before we go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a little big up. Can you give a little big up?
I don't know.
I want to give a big up to our mate, Jay McKenzie.
Oh, yeah.
Or the Hat, as I like to call her. She was second runner-up in our
Absolutely.
Flash competition
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. But she is having a blinder at the moment.
Is
Can I
she?
just quickly... She got first place in the Globe Soup micro writing contest. She's shortlisted for the Bournemouth Writing Prize, highly commended in the Bath Flash Award, and she's now just been longlisted for Smoke Long Quarterly and shortlisted by Fractured Lit.
Bloody hell.
Well done, Jay. Keep it up.
And all that came from listening to us.
I know.
That's
It's
amazing,
like it's
isn't it?
all taken off since then.
Yeah. Wow.
Almost annoying.
Hey, no, seriously though, that's ridiculous.
But, well done. Hogging all that success. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I think I'm ready to go. Apart from, one more thing, Tom. Just remembered one last thing. I've got a little tiny bit of homework for us both. I know how much you love homework. Right, Tom. No, come on. Listen to this. We did something last year that had an absolutely massive impact on our writing, on our productivity, and, dare I say it, small amounts of success last year. Can you remember what that was?
I don't want to.
We set some goals, didn't we, Tom?
I know we did. I knew that was
We
it.
set some definable,
Yeah.
achievable goals.
Which is a great thing to
It
do,
really
isn't it?
is, with specific,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
non-vague deadlines.
Yeah.
And we absolutely should do that again.
Yeah.
Because it does genuinely make a difference. Okay, so our homework before the next episode is to define our goals nice and clearly. And then we will announce them next week. We'll engrave them into stone tablets.
I would feel better as well if maybe some people listening did the same.
That actually would be great.
Send them to us and we can read them out, or on social media or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it'd be nice if people, because it does make a difference just saying, right, this year, even if it's just one thing, this year I am going to do X. Makes it real, makes it shared.
And someone else saying it as well.
Yeah.
Makes it even more real. And you can't back out, can you? If we say it on the podcast, there's no backing out of that.
Absolutely.
So let's make it real. Let's make it happen this year. So send us your goals with your deadlines as well.
It's quite a good time to do it as well, because we've got 6 months left of the calendar year. That's quite a good little stretch of time to do something, isn't it? But not too long that it's too far in the distance.
Send them over. That'd be great. Right, let's go. Let's just thank Scrivener one more time. Don't forget to subscribe and post a nice little review thing online, and we'll stick you in our prize draw to win some amazing merch.
Absolutely, yeah. Say something nice about us, and you could win some merch. Do it.
All right. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Speak to you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hello?
Where's everybody gone?